Welcome everyone to the CBCC Voice Business Unboxed podcast. I'm Karma and I'm so glad you're joining us. Alongside me is my fantastic co-host Wally from the Canterbury Bankstown Chamber of Commerce. Together we're here to unpack stories, strategies and insights that drive business success. Wally, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Karma, and we are very excited to say we are broadcasting from the centre of Liverpool and with an amazing charisma. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, Wally.
But it's important, I think we need to let the audience, and I always try to come up with an ideal statement describing who you are and what you stand for. So if I may say, charisma is passionate and community-driven leader whose journey reflects dedication, empathy, and a deep commitment to creating positive change. With a professional background in psychology and years of grassroots community engagement, she brings a thoughtful and people-first approach to public service. Is that a fair description?
Oh, that's a really wonderful description. I really like that. Thank you very much.
That's right. I'll send you the check.
Please. I'll put that on my official bio.
Charisma, I would love to get moving, but it's important from a personal note to, from your own way, tell us about yourself.
So that's it's something I always kind of trip up on a little bit because
I know you're very humble, and I sincerely mean that.
No, all good. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Liverpool. I always tell people that sometimes I pinch myself because my family migrated to Australia when I was 4 years old, and our first home was actually 2 streets down from where my office is right now.
Wow.
So we lived in the centre of Liverpool on Castlereagh Street for almost the first sort of 7 or 8 years, and have always kind of, lived within, 10-15 minute radius of Liverpool since then. But as you mentioned, I'm an occupational therapist and worked in the youth mental health space for a number of years before I became elected. And so that's really informed my real passion for working with not just community, but with young people. One of the reasons why I really, wanted to put my hand up and serve my community was because, a lot of the people that I grew up with were aspirational, they were talented, and they sought to kind of continue their ambitions outside of this region, outside of New South Wales and outside of Australia. And one of the things I really want to do is rebuild pathways to achieve people's aspirations right here in Southwest Sydney. We've got an incredible series of opportunities coming our way with obviously the second international airport, Sydney's second international
airport. We're going to talk about the airport later than one of the questions, but I think so that's going to lead us to the first question, journey into public service.
Yeah.
Charisma, you have a background in community work and mental health advocacy before entering Parliament. What inspired your path into politics, and how have you earlier experience shaped the way you represent the people of Liverpool?
That's a great question because, like I said, I worked in a very non-political field before entering Parliament. I actually got involved in politics when I was at university, and it was through one of my classmates who asked me a question when I was complaining about, something or the other, complaining about something. And then she asked me a question which has stuck with me. And I still ask myself to this day. She said, yeah, look, that's terrible. It's awful. But what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it caused me to reflect.
Always that trigger.
Yes, exactly. So it caused me to reflect, and I realised I want to be part of the solution, not part of the complaint peanut gallery.
People complain, but they don't realise, if you're complaining, you need to have a plan, or what are you going to do about it?
That's right.
There's no point complaining.
And this is where the flaw into politics, because politics, whether we like it or not, but that's the flaw to make changes.
Absolutely. And that kind of conversation got me started on a journey which ended up with me joining the Labor Party, becoming involved locally in Liverpool, and then, as a result of my local involvement, got elected to Liverpool Council, and then finally got elected to the role of member for Liverpool. But throughout all of those roles that I've had, like I said, that question has always stood with me, which is, what are you going to do about a problem? But second to that, I think my professional experience was really transformative for me because when I worked in mental health, I would be able to support or help an individual or a group of people or work with a school or a community group. And that was fantastic and that felt so rewarding. But I knew that the next day and the day after that and the day after that, there would be another individual, there would be another group, there would be another, community or school group, which was also facing similar challenges and barriers. So I thought there has to be a better way of doing this. And that's, again, where that sense of being able to tackle some of these bigger picture issues at a very different level, really look at what resources are going where, how we can do better in addressing some of these complex problems.
That's the mentality of a true entrepreneur as well. Like even business owners, what are you going to do about it? What would you tell your younger self? Like, did you ever think you'd be in politics?
No. So if you had told me at 17 when I graduated high school that this is what I'd be doing, not even 20 years later, I would not have believed you. I would have laughed at you, right? But I think, what has been so significant for me is there have been so many people that have believed in me even when I didn't believe.
Yeah, but that's so important to have that network around you.
Yeah. So if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be to seize the opportunity and keep good people around you.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
Karma?
Liverpool's growth and vision. So Liverpool is one of the key centres of opportunity in Western Sydney, especially with the Western Sydney Airport surrounding infrastructure and projects. How do you envision Liverpool's role in the region's growth and its place in Sydney's future economy?
I love that question, partly because, like I said, one of the things that really motivated me to get into politics was because I really wanted to rebuild pathways to aspiration here in southwest Sydney. So yes, we've got the airport and the investment and the resources that are coming on board there, but not a lot of people know that we have a health, education, innovation precinct in the Liverpool CBD. So when you look at the region bookended by these two huge sources of opportunity, you actually can go out there, tell young people, tell new migrants, tell our broader community as a whole that regardless of what field you want to make an impact in, whether it's medicine and health, whether it's manufacturing, logistics, anything at all in between that, there is a space for you, and there is sort of a pathway for your aspiration to be realised. And so for me, that's what it means. It means the opportunity for people in our community, regardless of their interest, their background, their qualifications, to make an impact and help our community grow.
Yeah. Are we going into schools to tell them these things? 'Cause especially with teenagers, they don't listen to their parents, so they need that outside.
Well, we need to listen to the parents.
But this is where most of us from southwest Sydney, as a region, have influences from different parts of the world. And, in many cultures, extended family, whether that's not just your parents, but your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, your cousins, neighbours, friends, all of those have a big impact in kind of, helping you grow, right? Yeah. It's like that phrase, it takes a village.
It does.
And, we need to lean into our village. So it's not just about parents educating their kids, it's about our whole community coming together.
And that's the beauty of what we need is that community bond spirit and working together truly. Embrace it. So that brings us to supporting small business and local jobs. And I've seen you in action. You're a great advocate. But through your role as a member of Parliament, what initiatives and partnership do you believe are most effective in helping local business grow, innovate, and create more local employment opportunities?
So there are two things that I would say there. One is you're looking at some of the proactive work that you need to do in terms of creating an environment that is encouraging for people to take risk, because entrepreneurs, small business people, essentially they're taking a huge risk. And if you can help them feel comfortable and confident to take the risk of starting their own business or expanding their business, that's I think front and centre what we should be doing.
Yeah, I've seen too many businesses shut down because of lack of educational support as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And just planning.
Yes, and so this is where through a whole range of programs and initiatives, really facilitating that that interaction between small business and different levels of government to make it easier for them to, whether it's start up, whether it's expand and grow or diversify what they're doing. I think that's really, really important. And from the other element of it is what is the reactive work that needs to be done. So, for example, I speak to a lot of small businesses in the Liverpool area, particularly in the CBD, and some of the challenges that they talk to me about include quite broad, everything from how do we facilitate more parking in the Liverpool CBD so that it encourages customers to come in, it encourages a flow of people, which is
parking is
a thing, but then also things like perceptions of safety, right? How do we improve a sense of safety here so that not only businesses are confident in opening longer, in kind of being more creative with the offering that they have for our community, but it encourages our communities to stay in our CBD a lot longer. Other parts of the world have done this for many, many years. So Liverpool is actually, or the CBD of Liverpool has been identified as by the state government as a special entertainment precinct, or a SEP, which includes about $200,000 of initial funding to help support the initiative. But more broadly and more significantly for me anyway, it's about really reevaluating what isn't needed, whether it's regulation wise, whether it's assistance wise, or what isn't needed in terms of making it easier for businesses to create to our entertainment economy.
So would you see 24-hour economy sort of taking shape soon, or are we still about just talk about it, or the night economy? How would you?
Well, I think we need to start with an 18-hour economy, which is kind of what we've been discussing for a fair while now. But very interestingly, there are two developments, I would say, which makes this a lot more feasible in Liverpool than many other parts of the state. The first development is positioning Liverpool as a university city. We
have already about how many universities now?
We've got 3 universities with well-developed campuses that are here, and we've got a 4th in University of Notre Dame that has announced that they're going to be in Liverpool. They've got a bit of a footprint, and they're looking to really kind of expand that footprint as well. So when you look at an increase in, say, a student population, young people want to, explore life. They want to explore their surroundings. They want new experiences, because university and that student life is not just about sitting in a lecture theatre. It's about, building relationships. It's about finding yourself and really exploring where you are.
Experiencing life as well.
That's right.
Surrounding.
That's right. And the second thing is also around leveraging of our strengths. So the minister is very aware that our, nighttime economy also has to be tied to our nighttime workforce. Liverpool has one of the largest 24-hour workforces in the state, with the size of our health workforce very close to the CBD. We also have a net increase in the number of public servants that are based in Liverpool as well, with a significant increase in the number of DCJ and Homes New South Wales staff in Liverpool. So, in a number of different ways, we have some really great foundations to see Liverpool CBD in particular grow and develop as a place where people want to spend their time.
I've been in this area 15 years now. You can park one spot and walk everywhere. Anything you need, you just walk to the hospital, to the church, to the Westfields, and then the other specialty shops. So
absolutely. And it's one of those places. A lot of places, you think of specialty shops, and my favourite is the specialty grocery stores. So a lot of parts of Sydney, you might have specialty grocery stores that might cater to one community group or 2 community groups. In Liverpool, you've got everything.
But it wasn't like that before. When I first moved here 15 years ago, I was pregnant. I was craving for and there was no Lebanese.
Oh, no.
There wasn't any, so I had to go to the next suburb. But then I saw there was now we're full of it. But it's like to see it grow in 15 years. It's just...
That's the beauty about multiculturalism, to be honest, I think, because it brings flavour of all kinds. But if we can harvest that flavour for positive and constructive manner. And I think that's where we
And
can
we work
all,
in harmony together. I've seen
that's the
any
key
issues.
word, harmony,
Yes.
and
Harmony.
sense of accept and respect. Like
Absolutely.
I need to accept you and respect you for who you are, whatever you are, and
Yes.
whoever you are, and then just focus on the relationship rather than
Yes.
other things. So I think next
Up
topic,
to the youth education.
please.
So with such a young and diverse population, Liverpool future lies in empowering its youth. How can government, education providers and business networks like the Chamber collaborate to ensure our young people are ready for the jobs of tomorrow?
Again, very good question. And we've just been talking about Liverpool
Yeah.
as a university town or an up-and-coming
I'm excited
university
because my
town.
daughter's in high school. When she learnt about universities, we're going to go overseas. I'm like, no, there's universities in Liverpool.
You can go down the road.
10
It's
minutes.
fine.
10-minute
me
drive.
already. She's like, okay.
But that's the beauty, right? Where you really have the capacity for people to, see names that they would not have seen even 10, 15 years ago in our skyline. But I'm always very mindful of the fact that you've got to not just look at one part of our education system, but you've got to look at it holistically.
Yeah.
And I can say, as a government, we are looking at what I call a cradle to PhD sort of sense of education and skill.
Love the word cradle.
Cradle to PhD, right?
Cradle us.
Yes. And I say that, right, because we're investing in everything from building new public preschools to make it easier for kids to start kindergarten ready to go, right, to make that transition into schooling easier. So our the first public preschool that was built was actually in Liverpool.
Oh, wow.
All across New South Wales. The first public preschool that we opened was in the CBD of Liverpool at Guyangari Public School. So we've got public preschools. We're obviously building public and high schools where they need to be, especially in growing parts of southwestern, northwestern Sydney, and really addressing the expansion of some schools where they're needed, and then into sort of that that skills piece. Once you have completed 13 years of schooling, you then are able to kind of whether it's explore free
Building
TAFE,
skills,
that's
so
right,
important.
vocational skills in education, or university if that's what people choose to do, or traineeships. So I was really happy to meet one of our special trainees last week in Parliament. So we had a local government women's awards in Parliament last week. And one of the trainees from Liverpool Council in communications won the award
Nice.
for trainee of the year across the state,
Awesome.
which is fantastic, right? But that's the kind of the important element of encouraging young people to think about the different pathways open to them. It can be a bit daunting, and I totally get it, because obviously I used to work with a lot of young people in schools, and sometimes you get what's called choice paralysis.
Yeah, there's so
Right?
many choices.
And it's like when you're trying to choose a TV channel, right, or a Netflix movie, because you've got so many options, you spend half an hour just flicking through your options, and then you're confused, and then you're like, turn it off, I'm going to do something else anyway.
Well, I always tell my daughters, just try it.
Yes.
And if you start with something, doesn't mean that's your ending. Like, it's good to try different things. And that's why with the school that they do these micro credentials,
Yes.
where every term it's a different type of skill set, and they learn
Yeah.
running a business, how to make something. And
Yes.
I was excited to see.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching, but why do I sense, I feel like a sense of making a minister on the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like, no offence to Prue Carr, I know she's the Minister for Education and we wish her well, but I feel like education is close to your heart.
Yeah.
So can we send a message to Premier Chris
manifest.
Minns that we have our next education minister here in Liverpool? Is that...
Not at all. I think...
we can move a motion if you want.
Wally can do it.
not at all. I think the deputy premier is...
No, I'm saying we're not.
No, like...
I'm talking as future
Look,
progress.
I would love to contribute to the team and be able to serve in that capacity. But I have to say, just across the board, the Deputy Premier is one of the most impressive ministers there is. Her passion for education is unparalleled, and just her approach as a minister is something that I really love to see, because when you look around you and you find people who are very impressive that you learn from, that you want to be mentored by, etc. The Deputy Premier is one of those people, just her approach to her job is very, very.
Nothing personal. A gratitude to her and to her leadership. We're talking from a future perspective, and the quality that you bring to the table. I feel like your characteristic, your passion, your lingo, and the way you describe when it comes to the education side of the topic. I feel like it's just coming from the heart. And that's why I feel like, there's sort of...
You get a sense of passion.
Look, I was brought up to see education as the great equaliser. And, for many people from different cultural backgrounds, education is a way that you can aspire and improve your life in the space 100%. Of one generation.
That's especially getting yourself out of poverty as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Future generation. So that brings us to community wellbeing and inclusion.
Community wellbeing and inclusion. You've been a strong advocate for mental health and social inclusion. What role do you see community organisations and local businesses playing in creating a more connected, supportive and resilient society?
Oh, I love that question, because I think, governments can create sort of the broader picture. They can send a message in terms of where our focus is, what's important, what we're willing to, like where the standard is, where the line is. And I think the Premier has been really great about, setting the tone when it comes to, more recently, some of the challenges that social harmony and community cohesion has faced, and, what is acceptable and not acceptable, which I think is very helpful. But when it actually comes down to it, our experience of social cohesion, of community well-being is not necessarily just determined by what's happening at the bigger picture and what our leaders are saying. It's determined by our relationships with our neighbours, with our colleagues, with our kids' sports teammates, and their families. And my strong belief is that community organisations, local businesses, sporting teams, all of these grassroots level organisations have a really powerful role to play in facilitating positive interactions, in building those positive relationships that are really necessary for the building blocks of community wellbeing.
They serve a vital purpose, like you said, to make sure the area or the destination to be admirable, to live, work, study, and come and do business here and grow family. I think it's a team effort collectively.
And you see that often in conversations where, someone who might have, a negative view about a group of people will say, oh, I don't really like this group, except for my neighbour, they're okay. Or, I'm a bit suspicious of, this group of people, except for my colleague. They're
taking it more of on a personal level rather than as a community level.
But that's how we begin to change attitudes, because if you have enough of those interactions where you break down that kind of overall negative view of a group or
but they just need to stop with the ignorance, like it's
but that's again where community organisations, local businesses, etc., have a much more powerful role to play, because government can run advertising campaigns, can do all of these other things,
rules and regulations.
They can, but I would say this all the time when I was on council. I have never met a single person who says to me, every morning I check the government website to see what they're doing for XYZ. Unless they have a reason to look for information, nobody is just passively waiting for information from the government to come.
Community organisation.
That's right, and or they vicariously encounter that information through community organisations or local businesses or other parts of our community that they encounter on a daily basis.
As a respected female leader in politics, Charisma, what advice would you share with women, especially young professional entrepreneurs who aspire to leadership roles in business or public life?
First and foremost, we need more. We need
Yes,
more.
we need more.
You know, I'm really proud that, for example, our cabinet, so our ministry is 50-50 male-female at the moment in the New South Wales
awesome.
in the New South Wales government, which is fantastic. We're still not quite at 50-50 in terms of overall representation of women. We're still sitting in the 30s, I think it is. So we do need, whether it's a parliament or, business leadership or whatever space in our community, we need something that reflects the entirety of our community, right? But it can be hard. There's a bit of a chicken and egg. Scenario where sometimes you can't be what you can't see, and so people might not necessarily aspire to something if they don't see how to get there, or if they don't see themselves represented in that way. So we've definitely experienced progress in the last sort of 15 years or so in terms of what people think of, or what kind of face they see or they think of when it comes to political representatives, or who they see in media, or who they see in businesses.
So the decision makers or the influencers, are they making enough leeway to open the doors for this to happen? Or is there more need to be done? Or?
There's a number of different levels that measures like this need to take, and sometimes those measures can take a little while to be realised, right? So, for example, we often talk about whether in politics anyway, whether quotas are helpful or not helpful. But you can see.
Can I make a point here?
Of course.
I'm not keen on the quotas. I think we should focus on the qualification, the quality, what you bring to the table. So just an opinion.
No, of course. And I think it's, for me, quotas are about a catalyst for a conversation and a catalyst to find those candidates who are who have something to bring forth for the broader community, because the Labor Party introduced a move towards quotas and the move towards minimum levels of representation or candidates for women back in the 90s, but we see the benefit of that now, 25 years later, 30 years later, right? So it's taken a long time for that to kind of come through. The other thing I would say is, politics is a field where merit is incredibly subjective, right? Merit is, you don't have a cookie cutter mold for what is a good what is a good representative or what is a good politician. It differs between communities. It differs between the person and what they bring to the table.
It's an ongoing challenge. I agree, and I think that's what makes the community sort of a measure.
Yes, that's right.
What do you call it? Like sort of like it's a.
Yeah, and it's a constantly, as you said, it's an ongoing measure, because a candidate that would have been or a politician that would have been a perfect representative for their community 30 years ago may not necessarily be the right fit today, because times have changed, community needs have changed.
Constantly changing.
But that's
it's
why
an evolution.
That's why you need to always keep up with the change, update knowledge and the like.
Be proactive.
Yeah. Whereas if I can go back to your question in terms of what advice would I give to women in particular, it is to really kind of one of the skills that I find most valuable in a political space is persistence.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially when you are looking at a field or you're looking at an industry and you are really, you don't feel like there's anyone that has a similar experience or that looks like you, etc. Sometimes the first few people have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. And so in that sense, I often have to kind of, have that conversation with myself, which is, sometimes it feels a bit uncomfortable when, you don't feel like your message or what you're trying to communicate has quite been received in the same way, or there's that kind of misunderstanding, and so, but it's an ongoing process, and that's where the persistence element of it comes into it.
There's a will, there's a way.
Before we ask the last question, when we met with Nathan, we did throw sort of a key point, a coffee with a cup.
Yeah.
But then what's that? Green tea with what do you call
Nathan
that?
with what did we say?
So it's a
Something
green
with
tea.
Nathan.
It's a green
Matcha?
Matcha.
Yeah.
So matcha with Nathan. So
What can we do with you?
what can we do with you?
Well, you're in luck because I already run what I call chai with charis.
Ah, there we go.
No, not at all. I'll show
So
you
we came to the
Yeah.
inventor.
There we go.
You came to
started a
the
trend.
original source.
So can
So what's your aim for-
what is it? Can you say it again?
Yeah, of course. It's a chai with charis. So anyone who has looked at a cafe menu knows that a chai is usually
Chai latte. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
chai latte. So it's usually kind of the across many Indian languages. It refers to tea.
Okay.
And my nickname is Chari. So often
Yeah.
you'll see the premier or others call me Chari.
Correct.
Yeah. So we kind of came up with a come and have a chai with.
So
with
when is the
chai.
next?
Yeah. Is it here in your
getting
office
together?
or at a cafe?
We like to support local businesses, so I love to take the chai with charis on the road. Have them in local cafes. Basically, we put the information out to people and we shout them a coffee.
That's awesome.
So they come in, have a chat with me, raise
what
an
type
issue.
of people would you like to connect with? Like what type of, who is that person that you need to come in and connect with? Like what questions are they asking themselves?
Well, a lot of the people that come to the Chat with Chari sessions are constituents who, might have an issue that they've been thinking about for a little while, but then they'll see me at the cafe or in the shopping centre or whatever. And they're like, oh, now that I've got you, I've been talking
Can
about
we have it now? The chai now?
When is the next session? Do you have
in a couple of weeks. So I'll
couple
give
of
you the
weeks?
date.
We'd
and-
love to come and,
please
and
come.
be there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
add us as collaborator on the
Can we
post.
recommend a spot as well? I mean, it has to be
Yeah,
within
sure.
your area, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can recommend the William English. We can use their cafe
Yeah.
and their surrounding.
Yeah,
And the parking is
absolutely.
great there.
Yeah, the
so-
parking is fantastic.
Well, Karma, the last question to Charlie.
Yes, your vision for Liverpool. So looking ahead, what is your long-term vision for Liverpool and Southwest Sydney? How can businesses, government and community continue to work together to make that vision a reality?
We've been kind of referring to elements of it all through our conversation.
Yeah.
But, for a long time now, Liverpool has been floated as the third CBD of
Yeah.
Sydney. And I think what I would really love to see is Liverpool step into that potential.
Yeah.
So step into the potential as a home for people to pursue opportunity right from, cradle to PhD, if I can put it that way.
I love that one.
But also as a driver of opportunity, regardless of where you come from. If you have something to contribute to the community, it doesn't matter what's happened or whatever mistakes that you might have made. You have that way to kind of go ahead and pursue success, to really kind of make a difference to our broader community, which I think would be really fantastic. Like I said, many of the people that I grew up with only saw a way of fulfilling their aspirations outside of this region. So I really want to make sure that we have pathways to aspire.
Like you don't need to go all the way to the city or Parramatta. 'Cause I
Yeah,
find it funny
exactly.
when you live in one city but travel to the next one. So maybe reduce the traffic as well if you all can work in the
Look,
same
you
areas.
are very vibrant from a council and from a driving force. You're very vibrant here. You do amazing things and try and always step up.
We can, one of the statistics that really kind of took me aback when I first got elected to council was that about 75% of Liverpool local government area residents actually leave the LGA for work. Right, so that's a
That's what I was
significant
saying.
majority.
Like,
yeah.
I'm driving
Now with
in
the
and there's
airport,
like,
hopefully this will change.
well, I'm
Hopefully-
excited
Hopefully
for
with the
this
health
airport.
precinct and education precinct, this is going to change.
Yes.
And look, the Southwest is an amazing corridor. I think with you being a star of the Southwest,
Oh, thank you.
It's put
very
you
much.
as star.
we would love to continue working with you.
Yeah, I would love that as
and
well.
champion initiatives and cause and advocacy to make sure we can claim the Southwest as an ideal destination to live, study, work, and play sport. And we want. Who do you go for before we finish the
What
session?
code
Are
are
you
you talking
Bulldogs or who's your famous? Are you a Bulldog supporter?
I have to say, right?
You're on the record, Charlie. Please be careful.
I know I'm on the record, but I have to say, when I was younger, my brother went for the Parramatta Eels, right? So
Sorry, Bulldogs. Got heartburn here.
So I had to go for whichever team was playing against them in that grand final.
Just
I think it was
because.
Newcastle at the time
Okay.
or something. So obviously that was that was selected when I was young. So I haven't really kind of picked a team again.
So maybe we should work
Maybe
Karma
we'll-
with Charity to make sure next year
Yeah. Well,
entice her
Bulldogs,
and
blue
induct
and
her
white.
into the Wall of Fame
Well,
with the
she's-
Bulldogs.
Well, no, but what I've said to all sporting codes, whether it's the A League or whether it's the NRL, I'm happy to back the team that backs Liverpool. And
there you go.
when it comes
That's a
because
good
when it comes to Liverpool, across a lot of major codes, we actually fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
Because we have we kind of contested territory between the Bulldogs, between the West.
Mm.
We actually have a lot of members of a lot of South Sydney Rabbitohs fans in the area as well. And there's-
Look, it's irrelevant. But
I've never seen
let
Wally
me
in
tell
the
you, I feel like we're going to be working together to make sure
Yeah.
spread the win of the Bulldogs to Southwest.
Yeah.
So that will be one of our key
Yeah.
KPIs. Let's
Yes.
say KPIs.
Well,
So look,
like I said, and even A League, we've got obviously the Macarthur Bulls and the Wanderers kind of fighting over
Okay. Oh,
that's
where
good.
their kind of territory kicks
well,
in.
that's something I think call to action for future.
Yeah.
So to you, Charity, today,
Yeah.
we appreciate your time,
My
your
pleasure.
friendship, and your charisma, because you've been amazing to us and truly humble and supportive, and you're a great believer in cross collaboration, and that's why we are here today. So
Absolutely.
we can cement that cross collaboration because Canterbury Bankstown is a gateway for the Sydney Southwest.
Yes.
And it's important that we all sort of bridge the gap and make sure we're all working as a team.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
to you, Karma,
Yes.
it's been an amazing day. To our audience,
Having us.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank
stay
you, Wally.
tuned
Yes, so that
for more to come.
Yeah.
Yes, well, and I love this initiative because I think, one of the ways, in the absence of seeing people visually, in pathways that you may not have considered, but if you can, hear a conversation, if you can be part of a
Yeah.
conversation like this,
Yeah.
and I would encourage all listeners, explore the things that kind of, interest you. You're both doing an amazing thing here in kind of really
Thank
bringing what we're talking about to
connecting you
people.
to,
And we
yeah,
need to
people
thank
online.
the New South Wales government,
Ah, yes.
particularly Jihad did, because
Yep.
they helped us to fund this sort of equipment and
Yes,
factory sound.
and factory sound.
and obviously,
Right
to them
there.
both, we are very
They-
grateful.
Well,
without
I'll let Minister Div
hesitation.
know
Yeah.
how far-reaching his investment
Please
has
do, because
come.
he's our next,
He's our next
speaker
one.
on
Oh,
the 7th of
fantastic.
November.
Yeah.
But it's important to let him know as well that the government investment is truly going
Yes.
for everyone. And obviously, we're going to be playing bipartisan to make sure support everyone.
course, yeah.
But the investment is really coming to
Yeah.
create storytelling, and that's what we need.
Oh, yeah, because you know what? People are influenced by storytelling. It's the
100%.
oldest form of
Yeah.
communication.
Yeah. It's like if this podcast can inspire the next generation of people to do what you're doing or even
Yeah.
join the community.
But shows people who they are truly. I mean, there's nothing fake here. It's
Yeah.
what you see. We are
What
very.
you see.
I promise I don't have a script. I was put on the spot.
And I find it so amazing, like just to watch you speak. I'm sorry, because for me, I hesitate speaking, or
Yeah.
so it's really nice to see.
I've been told, so I actually find it a lot easier to kind of communicate like this in groups in small groups, whereas I still get the butterflies if I have to go give a big speech.
public speaking.
Public speaking
Well,
and things
that's
like that. So a note to any kids or any people who think that because you might not necessarily be a great public speaker or you that might not be your thing, that politics isn't for you. I still get butterflies. So
Well, I know
Believe in
you-
yourself.
exactly.
I never knew I'd be hosting a podcast, so there you go.
Thank you. Until next time, stay
Thank
amazing.
you so much. So if you've enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the episode with your network. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Carlo
you.
and Wally.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming to Liverpool.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.